Well, car makers are continually searching for ways of making greener vehicles. For those who fear that means small and nasty, the unlikely combination of an Adelaide inventor and a rock legend have shown it is possible to be big, beautiful and green. Mike Sexton reports.
Neil Young lives the rock and roll dream, touring the world playing music and in between gigs driving his 1959 Lincoln Continental with a carbon-free conscience.
If you can have a big car and that's smart and clean, there's nothing wrong with it. If it's smart and clean, then it's good, you know, and people like that.
Several years ago, Neil Young wanted to see if he could run his 2.5-tonne yank tank using alternative fuels, and so he began surfing the internet for help, which is how he came across German-born South Australian inventor Uli Kruger.
He's a great mind and a great person. I'm very fortunate to be working with him.
At the time, Uli Kruger was working on ways of using biofuels in diesel engines, as he explained to State Line 3 years ago.
As you can see, the main difference is that we introduce the ethanol or ethanol water blend through a separate tank on the truck.
Okay, this is Uli Kruger and Jonathan Goodwin.
Hi. Since being contacted by Neil Young, Uli Kruger has moved to Kansas to work on the Lincvolt project. Part of the idea is to share the ride via a virtual garage, so others can see online what's being done and hear regular updates.
We have ideas on how to do it and we have plans on how we're going to get there, but right now we're using existing things and changing them, modifying them. And Uli is very talented at figuring out the solutions to problems that have to do with fuel and fuel delivery especially.
But not all of Uli Kruger's design work is in America. This is Ben Hodson at work in Adelaide with what appears to be a series of coffee pots. They're actually airflow enhancers, designed to improve the efficiency of an engine by allowing it to breathe better.
With the truck industry, by putting additional air through to the engine and allowing the turbo to spool up faster, the truck driver can go up a hill such as Wollonga Hill with maybe 2 gear changes less, which means he's got more power going up the hill and he uses less fuel.
The enhancer was designed by Uli Kruger, and Ben Hodson has registered the patent in 90 countries. He hopes tests proving a 5 to 10% efficiency gain will be enough to encourage car and truck makers to invest in the technology.
There is a large fleet on offering in the US that would like to use this device as is in a fleet of around 30,000 vehicles. So we have an American manufacturer who's busily building tooling and starting to produce the prototypes to confirm that it works, and we've really got our fingers crossed, because if it works, we'll be very happy.
Ben Hodson believes that technology is an incremental step toward making vehicles greener, a goal the federal government has committed $1.3 billion over a decade towards through its Green Car Innovation Fund.
To implement emissions trading as the primary mechanism for achieving this target.
Recently, representatives from the Department of Innovation, Industry, Science and Research were in Adelaide explaining who could qualify and how. Applications are being accepted in April, with the first dollars rolling out in July.
It's about lowering the emissions from cars and creating technologies that will improve the fuel efficiency of vehicles manufactured in Australia, with the benefits flowing back to the Australian automotive industry and of course to Australia overall.
The department is pleased with the high turnouts across the country, suggesting a large number of people will seek backing for their ideas. However, Ben Hodson is not among them.
The time required to do the application is onerous. Secondly, it's the matching funding that's required, and in these current times funding is hard to get. And if I have to choose between spending my money developing an application where I may or may not succeed versus spending my money on marketing, then at this stage I'm choosing the marketing.
Ben Hodson has no problem with the Green Innovation Fund, but is frustrated by how difficult and expensive it is in Australia to test new technologies like his.
We don't have the testing facilities to prove compliance with the Australian design rules. And I know that's frustrating for the powers that be in Canberra at DOTARS, and it's also frustrating for the various state regulatory authorities that have to deal with technologies like ours.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Uli Kruger's challenge is to electrify Neil Young's own political statement. Having replaced the original V8 350 horsepower engine with a hybrid electric system, the singer wants to park it outside the White House to show a car that once did 9 miles to the gallon can be powered another way.
We want to go to Washington and show people that you can get 100 miles to the gallon on a huge, old, classic American car, and why can't we build them like that?
You'd have trouble parking that one.